All right, so I just want to talk about our abilities to sense, right, and perceive certain energies, the intuitive force and trust in ourselves. So, if you would have watched any of my podcast interviews, I would have talked about experience I had in going through like a near-death experience and then having the ability to sense or to intuitively feel when something may be around the corner, something that I lost was like in sand, and I was able to pinpoint the exact location and actually get it. So I noticed through recently the sense has increased, because I would have it would have either increased or diminished over like the extent of like 5 years, depending on what I was doing, if I marginalized it or not. Crystals for sure was another opening for me in terms of my own awareness, sensing energies. And then I remember even times where I would send out my feelers, like use my left hand. My hands would sense, so I would put up my left hand and I would feel like the tingles, the response on my fingers, on my palms, and I would be in the supermarket sensing energy on the fruits, and then realizing that, for example, like when I go to the meat section, is a completely different type of vibe. The energy was having a reverse effect of like pulling. I would practice like feeling, like projecting or extending my energy, my senses, while I'm in a bus, sensing the wheels on the road, right? Because at first I couldn't even like breathe too hard. If not, I would lose the subtle sense. That's how subtle it was. So I remember I would would actually like breathe slowly, right? And move slowly too, because I can't move fast. And try to feel the subtle vibrations in the atmosphere. I could feel when somebody was approaching the room, when someone was like moving around in a specific location, but I had to be still. And I started extending and working with it in terms of like moving around and then being able to sense. That took a little while. I remember like sensing plants while moving. Yeah. Even like observing people from a distance and being able then to like tune in to like feel their emotions, how they may be feeling, and then switch to like trying to like gauge things, like living things or things in general. Like I said, it would increase or it would diminish depending on like maybe the moon cycle or the moon phase, depending on the stars that are aligned. Uh, Especially now, see, like around this time, like Lionsgate, psychic abilities, well, at least for me, be increasing. So I started kind of like tuning in or getting the, like it's like an analogy of, for example, looking at like X-Men. Some of the mutants have certain abilities, and the abilities often start off as very confusing for them. They start off as not being so not easy to manage. It's a learning curve. right? So check Professor Xavier, for example, in X-Men. He has the ability to sense people or like telepathically connect to others. For him, in the beginning, it would have started off as him receiving way too much information, not being able to filter through it, not being able to make sense of it, see how the energy responding, right? Not being able to right, not being able to distinguish his thoughts from another person's thoughts even, and so he eventually, through learning about his own abilities, developed it to even the point of being able to project himself from a far distance into someone's mind and make it appear as if he's standing up right next to them. Right? And we all have these abilities. Everybody has different abilities. Some people have like a feel see, right? Where the energy, so mine kind of acts like that in a way. So like a feel see, where it could create like a concussion wave, whoop, 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 send out and sense, feel, and it brings a visual sight. Some people hear see, so they hear and then they see. Some people see feel, so they see and feel. Some people just see, some people just feel. But it develops. The more you work with what we have, or I worked with, well, in the beginning it didn't work. It didn't start off like that. It was more trying to see, and I mean it expanded, and then I learned more to like hone and harness and focus on the ability that I started off with, which was feeling, sensing people's emotions, in certain senses, feeling what may be going on within their own bodies, because my body, it would overlay, so it would, I'm trying to remember what they call that. So that was like a clear sense, or like a like body empathy. So I would feel like their like certain ailments on their body and stuff like that. Certain emotions. Eventually I learned how to filter it. So you could filter it like a computer system. You could just what I did was one example was kind of seeing it like a knob in your mind, and you turning the knob. So you want like maybe feel a little more, so you turn the knob up, turn the dial up, and you're able to feel more. If you want to dial it back, you dial it back. If you want to just feel emotions, got like a button, a couple of buttons at the bottom. There's in the mind system, and you press the emotion button, and you just feel the emotions. You want to feel the body, you just feel the body. And I would tinker around with that, and I would notice some results. So for those who may be going through that, you can give that a go and see how it works, and leave a comment or send me an email. But I definitely notice that our abilities expand the more we work on them, because they're a muscle. So definitely the pineal gland helps. So I said I'd do a video talking about the different herbs and stuff that I use in my journey. So I'll say it here. I used, for sure, hands down, Gotu Kola and Kelp. Gotu Kola capsules and Kelp, right? I use skate liver oil as well. So that's very, very great in removing fluoride and calcium deposits from the pineal gland. The pineal gland in itself works as an antenna, a spiritual antenna, a receiver, and it also works in conjunction with the third eye. So it has like structured water in it that switches, basically, yeah, switches as it vibrates. It has crystals inside as well, and what it would do is it would bring you into like the subjective plane. So you would basically be receiving like spiritual, you would be receiving information from your spiritual side. And I noticed, yes, the more I actually decalcified it, I was able to visualize a lot more. I was able to sense a lot more. I also noticed that in the sensing. Okay, so let me backtrack. So Gotu Kola, Kelp, skate liver oil, apple cider vinegar, right? That helps as well. So I would definitely try to put it at bottom, or you could research it, just type it in, right? Boron. So I usually back then got my source of boron from borax, which is it's incredible. And through the research of it, I know is some people, people use it for different things, but is it in itself, from the research, certain brands have are the purest form of it as boron, right? And boron helps with removing the fluoride from the pineal gland or the brain, and also removing the calcium, right? And it strengthens the bones. It also balances the hormones. It's a win-win, or at least for me, from my experience. That helped significantly as well. So as I started to decalcify my pineal gland, my senses started to open up, and then the more I did like inner work on myself and open my heart space, my senses started to heighten. So I would say now, yeah, like now it feels like another learning curve, because the senses have increased even more now. And so it's very interesting, like going out, interacting with like a large set of people, feeling people's emotions, feeling their energy, and again getting used to the curve of actually knowing when to dial back, when to sense, eventually being able to like fully have it dialed up, turned on, tapped in all the time fully, right? And being able to gauge and filter, right, to determine the energies. So now I'm definitely able to feel like certain, maybe like dark circles in others, or if you're like a light formation, or well, maybe some thought processes that your consciousness may be going through, and then again it moves into the see and sense then. So I see like almost like algorithm programs set within a certain parameter, like downloads, where and again I started off doing this on myself, where I would be able to see then like certain programs that may be pending to download within the mind system, and I could highlight certain ones that are ready to download and allow them to come in. So there'll be basically upgrades or uploads and I would actually notice them like manifesting in the physical reality or within my mind system, depending on what it is. So yeah. we are amazing like our technology is amazing, right? We're able to expand so much of ourselves in the reality, in the holographic reality, in this simulation. The simulation responds to us. So I would have talked about that in one of my previous videos, how it responds to us all through our expanded self, all through our bigger self, tapping into what the Aboriginal, the Australian Aboriginals call the dreaming, or the awareness of information, right? And so even right now, like I can feel the subtle nature of the wind, the consciousness of the plants, right? It's extremely powerful. The more we pay attention to our reality, the more we pay attention to ourselves, is where it starts. So, so I'm paying attention more to myself now, and in that I definitely have noticed the bringing down of the marginalization of consciousness awareness in myself, in others, in crystals, right? Crystals are yeah. So with that sense, then we're able to pick up the world within everything from a book. Like you could feel out a book and you could feel what may be in it, right? Whether it's an empty book, whether it has layers of information in it, and you know, some people don't even have to turn the pages and read anything. They just know what's in it. So I would have written notes in here. Let me see. Actually, I just turned, see how synchronicity works? I just turned the page, and one of my notes here about tuning into self. Self-awareness is built upon during meditation and getting into the scanning breath. So being able to, as you breathe, scan your body. Slowly, like, feel certain parts of your body as you scan down, right? Know every inch of yourself, of your body. Go inside, like imagine, like play with it, play with your imagination. Feel how your blood feels as it flows through your veins. Feel the energy going through your body, right? Paying attention to the body vibration and the pixelation sequence occurring. So you feel the vibrations, the senses, the pixels that make up the body, right? That's the communication. Tune into the emotion body, the mental body. So tune into your emotions, tune into your mind body, right? Bring awareness to the planet system and the scanning mechanisms. So bringing an attention to connecting to your planet, tuning into the scanning mechanisms of your planet. Remembering your personal scanning mechanism is that of a subtle feeling sensory type, and then a visual sense. So that's specifically for how I feel out certain things. Being a part of everything, right? So feeling into that. And so I have a diagram here, right? Right? Feeling, see? Sensory response occurs when tuning into the field, to your field. intention of sight then becomes active, allowing the balanced communication line signals. Clearing the communication line signals will allow for clear signals between this feeling sense and visual sense. Right? So always asking for clear communication line signal or sequence through your sensory perception. Meditation constantly helps with the pineal gland expansion, which opens up the perception more. This perception is also functional through the heart chakra, so that's very important. Observation through the spiritual mind system. Line codes and communications of the energetic systems. Data modulation through code systems. Right? So, yeah. You begin to pick up codes, feel certain energetic systems. You could, again, it starts with a believing sense. So the believing in your own ability to sense allows you to pick up the information and sense. Bruce Lipton would talk about the power of belief, right? The biology of belief. Allowing for your cells to communicate with each other. Feel them inside of you communicating. Feel the pixels, the light communications, the crystals within your body communicating with each other on an efficient energetic level. And through practice and awareness, it expands, it extends, it grows, it builds, until it becomes second nature. So I just want to leave with that. Tuning into ourselves, going within, understanding who we are more, having that intention to know more about ourselves. So yeah, so wholeness.